Welcome, everyone, to the Reinvent Relevance podcast, where we dive headfirst into what it takes to move your career from where you are to where you want to be. We call this reinventing your relevance, embracing the winds of change to do the work worth doing. I'm your host, Jason Mutzfeld, and joining us today is Karyl Eckerle of the Image Impact Group. Karyl, thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate the invitation and I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, we brought Karyl on today to talk about image because we think of image in a job interview. We think of image in the workplace, but we don't necessarily always put all the pieces together. So that's why we got a professional, because that's what we like to do at Merrifield, is get a professional opinion on this thing and share it with you. So we're going to talk about image today. What sort of image do you present as a job seeker, somebody looking for a promotion, somebody looking to get the next gig? Karyl, let's talk a little bit. Let's start off with the basics. Image, how does that differ from, how does it go beyond just the way you dress and your appearance?
Yeah. So there's actually, we call it the ABCs of image. And really what it contains is your appearance, your behavior, your communication, and now your digital presence. So there's a lot of different funnels within the topic of image. And you have to remember that your image is absolutely part of your personal brand. That's kind of the foundation there.
Yeah, because they're going to see you. It's kind of like with food, they say you eat with your eyes first before you ever taste the food. The food can be lousy, but you see it on the plate. And human beings, we tend to, if one thing's out of whack, if you have bad body odor, you might look great, but if you smell bad.
Yeah, you're so right. And you and I had talked previously, and you were talking about the four-legged stool, which I thought was such a great analogy. If one leg is missing, it tips, it lifts, it doesn't sit right. And that's what happens with your image. If you're missing something, and we're not talking about perfection here, because I want to be really clear. This is not about perfection. As a matter of fact, it's really the opposite. It's embracing who you are and maximizing your expertise and maximizing your all that's great and different about you, but being very intentional and careful about how you do it.
Yeah, I love that word, intentional. I don't care for authentic, but it's a word everyone uses it. Intentional authenticity, something completely different. That's that confidence that exudes off of you when you're not aggressive, but you're assertive about who you are. I mean, this is just who I am, and if you don't want to work with me, don't work with me.
Right.
So tell me this intention and authenticity. I think of authenticity. I think of somebody like Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk drops a lot of F-bombs. He's very brash, very, very hyper in his style, but he's also a marketer. So does he have an intentionality, you'd say, in what the message he's presenting? He's very consistent and very polished in a lot of ways. And in other ways you go, wow. But that's what is appealing about him. So is that sort of what you're going for here?
Yeah, everybody's going to go, get there from a different route, right? So that would not be my comfort zone. When I'm in the company of my family or my friends, maybe that's my comfort zone. But for me to talk that way in front of clients, probably not where I'm comfortable. But I really like Gary Vaynerchuk, and I like that he feels free to do that. And he has hit a lot of people. The thing you need to remember is that, first of all, we're all unique, right? We all have our different ways of expressing ourselves and being comfortable with ourselves. And when we feel that comfort, that's where that confidence comes up. You also have to be really tuned into who your client is. So, and who your audience is, I guess, is more the word than client, because it's your audience, your prospects that you're looking for, and whether that prospect is a company that you're interviewing with or a prospect that you're trying to get business from, all different things. And intention gives you the ability to use your authenticity, right? And to package it in a way that it speaks clearly the message that you want your audience to hear. I always say you're a billboard for your company. What they see, what they hear, what they read speaks volumes. And really, when we get down to this, it's about first impressions. And first impressions happen at the drop of a hat.
Yes,
Drop of a hat. So what they see is what they remember. What they hear is what they remember. And confirmation bias is rearing its ugly head and we're making decisions about people without a lot of knowledge, with very
Mhm.
little knowledge.
Oh
So
we want to, we always say we want to do business with people like us or that we
mhm,
like, and frequently those people think, act, dress, sound, talk, move, walk just like us, and that's not
mhm.
necessarily the best idea.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's better to surround yourself with people that aren't just like you, because that's where
Yeah.
creativity and connections really blossom. When you can listen and hear and learn from somebody that doesn't
Hmm.
mirror you, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
how glorious is that?
Oh, it's great.
But but it takes some skill to do that. And again, who are you attracting? People are naturally going to be attracted to certain types of people. That doesn't mean they're attracted
Mhm.
to a mirror image. It just
Yeah.
means that there's something that somebody has that makes them feel comfortable and confident. And when it all boils down, we're all a problem solver. So even if
Mm.
you're looking for a friend, you're looking for a friend because your problem is that you're lonely or you're bored or you need a little something. Um, you need somebody to go and play tennis with, or whatever the problem is. You're looking for that solution. When you're looking for a job, you're looking for a paycheck. You're looking for a career. You're looking for satisfaction and commitment that will make you rise above and make you feel really, really comfortable. So, who can solve your problem? Who is your problem solver? Problem
Yes.
solvers come in all different packages.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we always say that's what a resume says. What problem can I solve?
Yeah.
And again, it takes all types of people, and having a diverse array of people, and having worked in technology for
Mhm.
many decades before starting into career counseling, yeah, trust me, I was one of the wackadoos. It took a long time to, that creativity was often at odds with some of the engineering types who were a lot more buttoned down. Um, well, let's go on then. The interview. That's what I know. A lot of people will be tuning in and
Mhm.
thinking about. Business casual seems to be the norm these days. They actually make dress sweatpants, as I understand it. Uh, but how do you dress for an interview in 2020, even if it's a Zoom interview? Is it better to be overdressed or than underdressed? What are the general rules of thumb you should
I'm going to tell you that it's always better to be overdressed to a certain extent than underdressed. Remember, you are trying to have somebody see you again as a solution. And many times we've got people that are looking for leadership roles. And if you're not presenting yourself like a leader, why would they think of you as a leader? You have to be seen as a leader before you're thought of as a leader, first of all. The other thing is, too, no matter what dress code level you're at, it's the fit of what you're wearing. It's the quality. It's is it neat and tidy? Is it clean?
follow? Yeah.
Does it send the right message? I will tell you right now, I've got a faux leather jacket on right now. I would never go and interview at a
Mhm.
traditional based company in this jacket. I just wouldn't do it. I don't think it would read correctly. But my job is to have creative solutions for my clients. I want you to see me as creative and dynamic and a little bit outside the box. I need
Mm.
I need my clients to see me that way. You have to decide what you want people to remember about you and kind
Mhm.
of reverse engineer it, if you would. So if
Mhm.
you need to be seen as trustworthy, are you dressing with
Yeah.
that in mind? If you need to be seen as romantic, are you
Yeah.
dressing with that in mind? If you need to
Interesting.
be seen as creative, showing up in a very structured blue suit probably isn't going to do it. Now, that doesn't mean that the
Yeah.
foundation has to be that way. It could be just, accessories. So, I've got
Mhm.
some kind of fun, funky jewelry on right now. If I threw on a pair of pearls, it would change the tone and the message of what I'm wearing, even with a leather jacket on.
Mm.
So it's
Gotcha.
getting creative, but fit is what you want to
Mhm.
make sure to have. Make sure things are in good shape.
Yeah.
Do a little research that company, see what you find on their website. How are people dressing? We're on LinkedIn, right? Go on
Mhm.
LinkedIn, do some investigative work, and remember, dressing a step above is always a better idea than dressing a step below. They need to
Yeah.
see you in the position which you're going for.
Exactly. And then that goes beyond just the interview, dressing in the interview yourself, but your social
Mhm.
media as well, correct?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because I see so many. I've seen profile pictures of people in baseball caps, and I'm like, okay, that sends a message. It doesn't send the
Right.
message you want it to.
Well, and if
But
that's what they're,
yeah,
your
yeah,
profile picture should be a
yeah,
representation of who they're going to see on a daily basis. So
yeah,
if your whole persona is baseball cap and you sell baseball caps, wear a
yeah.
baseball
Oh, that's true. That's a good point.
cap.
Yeah, a Harley Davidson salesperson is going to dress differently than an IBM salesperson. So
Quite possibly, yes, absolutely, yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
So and moving, let's dive a little deeper into that. Then moving online, life has moved into
yeah.
Zoom mode, and Microsoft Teams. We're living online. Has that changed the way we should approach our personal image on a daily basis and on a longer form basis? And because we're living also on Instagram and Facebook, and these are
Yeah.
extensions of us. Tell me a little bit about how that has changed things.
Yeah, so first of all, we live in a Brady Bunch square right now, so making sure that your background really reflects who you are. It has become. I
Oh,
just read an
yes.
article too about how interviewers are really considering, and maybe Jason, maybe you guys even posted this. They're looking at backgrounds as part of your interview, which is a little
Yeah.
scary and a little intimidating because there's a lot of times where people just don't have the finances to create something behind them. This is just a room that I have all the time.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky that it worked out for me.
Hmm.
If you don't have something that really speaks to, who you are, what you do,
Hmm.
a, a, a very basic wall will do the trick.
Yeah.
It's better than having, a Windex, can over here and an open door and,
Yeah.
your laundry hanging up. So be
Clean it
cognizant.
up. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, so you have to
Yeah.
be cognizant of, of the little window that we now call, home. And
This
then
is
the other
true.
thing is,
Yeah.
it was that, this was happening even before COVID
Mhm.
hit. But, one of the first things that happens is that when we hear a name, we get online and we start Googling, and whatever
Yes.
comes up
Hmm.
is our first impression. That's
Hmm.
what we have to use to make a first
Yeah.
impression. So understanding that, again, your posts, what do your posts look like visually? What do
Hmm.
they say? What is the verbiage that's being used? What pictures are
Yeah.
you using? Again, I don't this is not about,
Yeah.
being 100% perfect all the time, because guess what? That doesn't even exist. But we're going
It's
to
a bad
bring
thing
that
to
word
aspire
back
for.
again, that
Yeah.
intentional word,
Yeah.
bring back intention, and do the best that you can,
Yeah.
and be consistent, be really consistent.
Yeah. I mean, are you even posting on LinkedIn? That says a lot about you right there. When did you
Yeah.
last tweet?
Mhm.
Twitter. It's better to shutter Twitter than to not use it. And that personal opinion.
Yeah.
But that's it speaks also to your name. I mean, you have a very unique name. I have a very unique last name.
Mhm.
Easier to find than say John Smith or
Right.
Jane Doe,
Right.
because you type those names into LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, you're going to find
Mhm.
a gazillion of them. Even if you think you have a fairly uncommon name, you'll find there's at least four or five other of you out there. So,
Yeah.
that's very important. I'll just remind everyone. This is me taking over for a minute.
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Make sure you change your URL. Google how to change your LinkedIn public URL to make your name findable. Off my soapbox.
Yeah. But
Going
that
back.
that's such a good point
Yeah,
though, Jason, because, again, when going back to Google, when you Google,
yeah,
usually LinkedIn is maybe the first, second, or third
yeah.
search result.
Mhm.
And so that's how people are getting introduced, is through LinkedIn. So imagine if first of all, they have to go through 50 John Smiths because they can't find you. And then they have to determine which one is you. And then when they find you, there's no banner, there's no headshot, or the headshot is you sailing, and you don't sell sailboats, and they can't see your face. It just adds to the confusion. And that's where communication, digital presence, behavior, your choices that you're making all make an impact on your image.
Yes, it's a whole new world. So we're
Yeah,
all getting used to it. So don't worry, everyone else is in the same boat we are, but some of us are doing
exactly.
better than others.
Right, right. Yep.
So, and now that speaks to, you mentioned sailing and wearing ball caps. We talked about that. We've sort of poked fun at it, but
Yeah.
how do you remain uniquely you? Because I know that's a trend. Honestly,
Mhm.
people want to express themselves individually. This is why people get piercings and tattoos. They want to express
Sure.
themselves physically on their body. They want to have that
Mhm.
with them forever. You know, some of us cut our hair really short or grow a beard. It's unique, and I've been told, well, you should shave your beard, Muthfeld, because you don't look professional. Well, I enjoy it, so I like it.
Right.
It expresses me. How do you walk that fine?
I think there's a couple things to keep in mind, and you just hit the nail on the head. It is a fine line, and you have to determine what is important to you. What is important to
Hmm.
you? Um, I'm trying to think how I can best phrase this. You need to remember that there is often a gap, a perception gap. So you may
Okay.
think of yourself over here, and the
Hmm.
people that you're trying to connect with see you over here. That's a
Hmm.
pretty big gap. Your job as a communicator is to try and fill that gap.
Hmm.
Now, a couple things can happen, right? You can either totally change yourself where you feel uncomfortable and it feels awful, and it's heavy, it weighs heavy on you, but you can reach your goals over here, to be with these people. Or
Hmm.
you can say to yourself, you know I'm going to change a little bit because it's going to make me feel really great. And in
Hmm.
doing so, I think I can move the needle over for this group of people. So that there
Gotcha.
again, you're authentic. You're not moving totally over here. You're keeping your authenticity, but you're being
Yeah.
intentional enough, and you realize enough
Hmm.
that the movement has to come with two different ways. And again,
Yeah.
being authentic can mean, like you said, cutting your hair short, maybe wearing some fun earrings. Maybe it's
Hmm.
that the way that you speak within your social media posts is more
Hmm.
conversational rather than professional. There's all different ways to do that. That's one of the favorite things that I do with my
Hmm.
clients, is to really unearth what they're all about, so that
Yeah.
when we are moving forward, we're moving forward that makes sense. It makes sense to
Yes.
them, they feel great, and it makes sense to their clients because they make them feel really confident as well.
Yes, exactly. And it's all about confidence at the end of the
Mhm.
day. And if you're too fake, if you're trying too hard to fake it till you make it,
Yeah.
it's hard to keep up. I'm
Yes.
honestly, I mean, I think about my mother and my aunt are both from Western Pennsylvania, and they grew up with a very thick, what's called a Pittsburgh accent.
Yeah.
And and it's very, and if and it, they both took elocution lessons so that they
Oh,
would get
okay.
some of that out of them. Now then
Hmm.
my aunt then doubled down and put all sorts of Pennsylvania Dutch stuff everywhere because she was trying to say, hey, I'm not a, I'm not a Midwesterner. I'm from
Yeah.
Pennsylvania and I'm proud of it, but I don't talk like I'm from Pennsylvania.
Right, right.
So, so that was interesting how she made that compromise. This was years ago, even.
Hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, it's hard to maintain that if it's fake. That shines through. And would you
Yeah,
say?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, it weighs heavy on you. It doesn't make you feel good. It's exhausting.
Yes.
It's truly
Yes.
exhausting.
Yeah.
So
Trying to
yeah.
be somebody you're not. So
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, final thoughts then. What sort of tips do you have for job seekers, people looking for that promotion, people trying to
Mhm.
get attention? What are some good tips and takeaways that we can give people today?
Don't wait. Don't wait until you have the job to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward. I hear that a lot of times. Well, I don't have, I don't have the time or the money to invest in me. I just need to get a job. And when you really think about it, when you invest in
Mhm.
yourself with time and money, a little, and it does take those things,
Yeah.
and you get it right, think of how much further you can go. Think of how
Mhm.
you'll stand out above the competition because they didn't take those steps. I'll tell you a quick story about, back in the day, I went to a temporary agency just to
Okay.
get a job, but I walked in um, dressed like I meant it, and they had an opening at the agency to work for them, and I was hired
Oh,
on the
wow.
spot. And that
Good.
was never my intention when I
Yeah.
walked in there. I had
Mhm.
no idea it was even a thing. But because I went the extra mile, because that, I mean, to be
Yeah.
frank, that's the way that we were taught growing up, is that's what you
Yeah.
do.
Mhm.
It worked out, and that was an opportunity that I would have never even thought of to go for. But
That's
because
fantastic.
I made myself open to the opportunity by the way that I presented myself, I was
Mhm.
ready to step up to it when it came. So that's what I hope for people to remember, is that your first impressions allow you to step up to opportunities that you weren't ready to step up to before. And better yet, you
Mhm.
have the confidence to create your own opportunities, which is really,
Yes.
really empowering.
Yes. Amen to that. That's
Yeah, yeah.
outstanding advice. And hopefully that speaks to everyone. Well, thank you, Karyl. I do appreciate you coming by today.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. If you want to find out more about how you can take charge of your career, visit our website, merfeld.com, or reach out to us on LinkedIn. And please like and share this content if you found it helpful. Referrals are our favorite form of compliment. We hope you have a great week. We will talk to you soon.